Hello and welcome back to the CIT Tech Tips YouTube channel. Today we have a great video in store for you guys today. We're going to be building a PC and it's semi-modern day. It's not the greatest, but it'll get you through a lot. And we're also going to be installing Windows 11 with this USB right here. Brand new. So some things you might want. We have two screwdrivers here. And we have this big screwdriver for the big screws, this little screwdriver for the tiny screws. There's only like one tiny screw. I just like to have a smaller screwdriver. And for cable management, I like to use one of these, and this is just a Velcro little strip. Does like that, pull it apart like that. For a graphics card, we got this GT710. Due to GPU shortage, we don't have a lot of these, but it'll get you through. For storage, we got this 1 terabyte SSD right here, very well. And we also have one of these M.2 storage devices. This will come in handy very soon. Over here we have this RAM stick. This I believe is 8 gigs of RAM right here. A lot of PCs don't use it, but this will have this disk drive right here, as you can see right here. Just in case you want to boot from a hard disk or maybe you want to put a Linux distribution on your computer after all. And then over here we have the motherboard, and this motherboard right here already has the fan and the CPU on it, which is what we want you guys to have accomplished ready. Over here we have our power supply, and this is a Viper 600 watt with ergonomic display and everything. And lastly, we have a hard drive, but we're not going to be using this. We are going to actually be using the two solid states.
Alright, now that Jack's done with the overview, we're going to be putting in the RAM and the SSD. First, I put it in. You need to push those two tabs back. Make sure you line it up right. Remove the wire. Insert the memory. Good indicator is hearing the click. That means it's in. Then, you get your screwdriver. Take the heatsink off. Take that off. Then you put the SSD in, like so. Alright, now that you do that, you're going to put the screw in. Now for this one, it will automatically stop you. You won't over-screw it. You'll feel the tension. You know to stop. And that's what we're going to be doing. Now we're going to be moving on to the PC. Alright, now for the bigger solid state drive. We're going to be using this adapter because the PC we're going to be using does not support this size drive. And for this, then you would put it in here, slides in, you get one of the screws, it comes with it, with the adapter. This part can be, depending, it can be pretty tricky, but I like to just hold the tip like this, and just, put it in this way. Once you get the first screw in there, it's pretty simple, because the screw will hold it for you. As you see, the force of gravity does not work with it. As you see, right there.
So the next step is to place the motherboard in. You have to make sure it's facing the right direction and that all the holes for the screws are all lined up. And then we're going to screw in every single screw. Make sure it's nice and safe. Like Josh said before, you want to make sure that you tighten the screws as much as they'll go, but you do not want to break it. So you want to do it till you feel some tension. And then you want to stop so you don't break it. And that's how you screw in your motherboard. So now the next piece we have is the graphics card. The graphics card goes in one of the 2 ports along here. So the first thing you need to do is you need to take the connector at the bottom, and you need to make sure you have it going in the right direction. This side is going to go outside of the case, so you take it, push it, make sure it lines up with a hole in the side of the case, and then you just push it down. Finally, what you need to do is you need to take a screw and you fasten it to the case simply by connecting a screw right here and going until it's tight. And that's how you connect a graphics card. The next piece is our standard disk drive. It's gonna go right here in this spot. So what we do, we take it, we line it up in the front, and then it's lined up. Sometimes it's a little soft. You just slide it into place, and then on top, you put in 2 screws to keep it in place. So 1 screw goes right here, like this. Make sure it's in place. The second screw goes right here in the corner. It's a little hard to see. But it's very important that you put these in, that way when you tip the case upright, it won't fall out. And once that screw goes in, you've installed your disk drive. This is the power supply we're going to be using for our PC. It is not semi or a modular power supply, but we're going to use it anyway. So the way we install it is there are 4 screw holes here, and there are 4 screw holes here, which is what we line them up with. So it's going to go, you got to be careful with this because it's big and you don't want to damage your motherboard. You're going to go on the inside of the PC, you're going to line it up kind of like we did with the disk drive. And then it just comes around to the front. Doesn't get stuck, and it's gonna go in place. So now that the first screws are in, we're just gonna put in 2 more screws. Go on the different sides. You have to make sure that the power supply is lined up, or the screw holes won't align, and you won't be able to fit in all the screws. And that's all 4 screws in. So the next step is going to be plugging in everything, which my friend Josh will show you how to do.
Now we have to get the power to the motherboard from the power supply. Computers may vary. Some manufacturers use 14 pin, 18 pins, so on. And first we're going to be putting in the 24 pin power connector right here. And you'll feel it once it's in. You should not be able to get it out easily. And then we will be putting in the secondary power. Now some of these can be 4, even bigger ones, and this goes on the opposite side of the board. It depends on really, go. Again, it depends on how many pins you would actually have. Then we'll be putting in the SATA cables. Because the M.2 is connected to the board, so it doesn't need one of these. But the other SSD does. And that is on the other side, which you'll be able to see. It is in the shape of an L. So you'll be able to match it up, plug it in. And the other side, go on to the motherboard.
It's too good.
And then from there, you get your power connectors, which this one is for fans and other accessories. And this one will also be a bigger L. And this one will go and plug in to a hard drive. And it's almost like playing with blocks. You can feel a clock line. Good. Alright, so now we're going to be installing Windows 11 on the machine. And you click install now. So it'll start, and you might have a product key, but for this example we're not going to be using one. We're going to go with Windows 11 Home, and then read through the terms and conditions. I'm going to press accept here. Do not press install Windows and keep files because this is a new machine, and for some older versions it might not work. We're going to do custom install. So we're going to go here and we're going to go and do delete this partition. I don't know what's on it, so we're just going to go here and then install. Right, now that the installation is done, we're going to be setting up the computer. We're at the US, the keyboard. So now once you connect to the internet, then you can type in our user account. We're just going to type in our password. It'll most likely differ.